1800 hours, Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Farzana Khan. First, the headlines. Prime Minister says olive plantation will help address climate change and increase exports of the country. International Day to Combat Islamophobia is being observed today in OIC member countries, including Pakistan. Speaker National Assembly will constitute a parliamentary committee to expedite legislation process on constitutional and electoral reforms. National Command and Operations Centre has advised the provincial administrations to take strict actions on violations of COVID-19 SOPs. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, 2 youth were martyred when the Indian troops blasted several houses with explosives in Shopaiya district. China has voiced grave concern over the safety of its citizens in Myanmar after several Chinese factories were attacked amid a bloody crackdown on protesters in Yangon. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Imran Khan says olive plantation will help address climate change and increase exports of the country. Addressing the launching ceremony of olive plantation campaign in Nowshera district today, the Prime Minister said production of local olive oil will save a lot of foreign exchange being spent on import of edible oil. He said by planting olive trees, particularly on western bank of the Sindh River, and production of olive oil can generate new jobs, flourish businesses and chance exports of the country. Imran Khan said food security is a serious challenge for Pakistan and the fast-growing population adds to this challenge. The Prime Minister said the primary objective of the government's 10 billion tree tsunami project is to safeguard our generations from the effects of climate change. Highlighting Pakistan's vulnerability in climate change, the Prime Minister urged the youth to participate in plantation campaigns in their areas. Chairman Senate Mohammad Sadiq Sanjarani and Deputy Chairman Mirza Muhammad Afridi called on Prime Minister in Islamabad today. The Prime Minister felicitated them on their election as Chairman and the Deputy Chairman of the Senate. Speaking on the occasion, Imran Khan said lending the upper house by representatives from Balochistan and erstwhile tribal areas is an honour for the people who have been ignored in the past, and now their election will further strengthen the federation. Earlier, Chairman Senate Sadiq Sanjarani also called on President Dr. Arif Alvi in Islamabad today. Felicitating Sadiq Sanjarani on his election as Chairman Senate, the President hoped that Sadiq Sanjarani will continue to fulfill his responsibilities diligently as he did in the past. Information Minister Senator Shibli Faraz and newly elected Senator from Balochistan Samina Mumtaz were also present in the meeting. International Day to Combat Islamophobia is being observed in Pakistan and other member countries of the OIC today. The OIC will also hold a high-level event in New York on 17th of March to mark the occasion. In a statement today, Foreign Office spokesperson Zahid Hafiz Chaudhry said Pakistan has always supported and continues to head international efforts for building bridges between cultures and civilizations. He said through observance of this day, we want to build better understanding of Islam and Islamic precepts besides sending message of international solidarity and cooperation. He said Pakistan remains determined to promote values of peaceful coexistence as well as interfaith and cultural harmony. In line with the Prime Minister's vision, Pakistan had presented a resolution to designate 15th of March as International Day to Combat Islamophobia at the 47th session of the OIC Council of Foreign Ministers held in Niamey, Niger last year. The resolution was unanimously adopted by the meeting. In Sri Lanka, Vice President of the Muslim Council Hilme Ahmed has termed government's move to ban the burqa as a racist agenda. Talking to media, he said it should be considered a right for women to choose. Earlier, Sri Lanka's Minister for Public Security, Sarath Veerasekera, said he had signed a paper for cabinet approval to ban the burqa, and the government has also plans to ban over 1,000 Islamic schools. Prime Minister's advisor on parliamentary affairs, Dr. Baba Rawan, called on Speaker National Assembly in Islamabad today and held a detailed discussion on expediting the legislation process in the parliament. They agreed to constitute a committee headed by Speaker National Assembly for constitutional and electoral reforms. Both the Treasury and opposition benches will be given equal representation in the committee. The committee will review the legal and constitutional aspects of granting interim provincial status to Gilgit-Baltistan and revisit the electoral reforms bill. In his remarks, Speaker National Assembly Asad Kaisar said the government and the opposition parties should address the matters of public importance through legislation. This is Radio Pakistan giving you the news. National Command and Operations Centre has advised the provincial administrations to take strict actions on violations of COVID-19 SOPs. In a meeting held in Islamabad today with Minister for Planning and Development Asad Umar in the chair, the NCOC asked the provinces to ensure that SOPs in transport, hotels and other places are strictly followed. The meeting also emphasized the need for ensuring vaccination of senior citizens, as a majority of mortality cases belong to the senior group. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, 2 youth were martyred and dozens injured, many critically, when the Indian troops blasted several houses with explosives in Shopaiya district. The bodies of the youth were recovered from the debris of the houses destroyed by the Indian forces in the 3-day-long violent cordon and search operations in Rawalpura area of the district. As the second body was recovered today, the troops fired bullets and pellets on mourners, leaving over 24 people injured. The occupying Indian troops also set many houses on fire in the area. This brutal action led to strong anti-India protest demonstrations in the district. The authorities suspended internet service in Shopaiya district. The troops also launched cordon and search operations in different areas of Baramulla and Budgam districts. Hurriyat leaders, organizations and rights activists in their separate statements strongly condemned killings, arson and use of brute force on people in Shopaiya district by the Indian troops. Meanwhile, protest demonstrations were held in Sopore, Gool, Chandarkot and Matan areas in the territory against the blasphemous move by ruling BJP pawn in India, Wasim Rizvi. A protest demonstration against violent cordon and search operation by Indian troops in Shopaiya district was held in Muzaffarabad today. It was organized by Paspan Hurriyat. The demonstrators gathered in front of the Central Press Club and chanted anti-India and pro-freedom slogans. The speakers strongly condemned fresh acts of state terrorism in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, where Indian troops martyred 3 more Kashmiri youth in the last 3 days. They said that India is using all cheap tactics to suppress Kashmiri's freedom movement, but it will never succeed as Kashmiris stand against brutal troops like an iron wall. The speakers demanded of the World Human Rights Organizations to take serious notice of the brutalities of the Indian forces. China has expressed concern for the safety of its citizens in Myanmar after several Chinese factories were attacked amid a bloody crackdown on pro-democracy protesters in Yangon. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Zhao Lijian has urged Myanmar to take actions to resolutely avoid a recurrence of such incidents. Afghanistan's ambassador to the United Arab Emirates, Javed Ahmed, has said Afghan peace talks now stalled in Qatar should be rotated to other venues. Talking to media, he said peace talks should not be held in one fixed location but rotate among venues in Europe, Asia, the Middle East or Afghanistan itself. Meanwhile, Russia will hold a conference on Afghanistan this week, while Turkey hosts talks next month as the United States seeks to shake up the process, proposing an interim administration. And finally, we have the weather report for you. Partly cloudy weather is expected in most upper parts of the country. However, isolated rain is expected in Upper Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analyses, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.